Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to the video game review series for poor people like myself. If you can't afford to buy every brand new video game under the sun and want to know where to place your hard-earned money for a video game that you're going to play for months and years to come, this is a series for you. Today we're going to be talking about Final Fantasy VII Remake for PS4.
Wait, one system?
Yeah man, it's just on PS4.
Well, okay, how are the sales doing? Holy shit, I ain't even mad.
The main points we're going to be hitting on are story, gameplay, online graphics, replayability, and developer support. And does it go bang for your buck? Okay, so Final Fantasy VII Remake. This review is it's coming from a person who's never played a Final Fantasy game before. I've always been kind of interested in them, but I've never touched one before this one. And I'm going to also give a heads up, this is coming from someone who's not even halfway into this game, but I wanted to make this review because this is how highly I think of this game. So if you guys were wanting a full, in-depth review of the story and every boss battle and everything else, you're not going to get it in this review. This is me purely fanboying over a new series that I've gotten into because of a remake of like a 20-year-old game. So we're going to go ahead and jump into it with the story, what I've played so far. So I'm in about Chapter 6. I'm in Chapter 6, I've done the whole demo playthrough, everything that was on the demo. I've met pretty much all the main characters, I've talked to pretty much all the main characters. As far as I know, I've gotten into some of the boss battles so far and everything else. And so far, I don't have anything bad, not even one thing bad to say about this game. It is completely different from anything I've ever played. I've never really gotten into anime-ish type things. I'm not really an anime person. I'm the classic white boy anime guy who likes Dragon Ball. And even then, I didn't watch Dragon Ball that much because it was anime and it wasn't really something I was into. Now, this is kind of like an anime video game. So it's completely different from anything and everything I've played. And even with it being like that, I still really enjoy the story so far. But so far, the story I have played with this game is absolutely great. It's so different. You're playing as Cloud. The character progression is amazing. Watching Cloud go from an edgelord to a caring person who tries to boost the morale of the people he's coming to contact with after starting out as a hired mercenary who, you know, he could give a damn about anything else but money, and the only connection he has tying himself to this group is a girl that he grew up with. So you get to watch this character go from a guy who's literally saying, I don't give a damn about you or your cause, just pay me, to this guy who is trying to uplift everybody in a bad situation. Watching that character progression there, watching Barrett, his character progression, even in the first 5 chapters, was insane. He just looks like and sounds like and acts like this hard asshole, and he portrays himself that way, and as you go forward, you start seeing his character break down a little bit. You see his daughter, you see how protective over his daughter he is, you find out his reasoning for working for Avalanche or having this cause of Avalanche to save the planet. The character progression in this game, even in the first 6 chapters, is absolutely insane. It's probably some of the best character progression I've ever been a witness to in a video game. But the overall arcing story is you got these fucking corporate assholes called Shinra, and they're like this kind of war company, and you got these guys called soldiers, which Cloud is. They're like pretty much the Captain America of this universe. And Cloud is an ex-soldier. He used to work for Shinra. He did some fucked up shit. And that's about as far as I've gotten with the story, besides, you know, doing the things for Avalanche, you know, getting paid for what you're doing, being a hired mercenary, and advancing as far as that goes. And basically the main goal is you're trying to stop this big company because they're killing the planet with what they're doing. Something to do with the Mako and everything else. Barrett literally says he can hear the planet screaming. So the whole goal of these people is to shut down Shinra from killing the planet. And so far, I'm completely on board. It's a classic let's save the planet story, and I'm on board with it. I mean, it could have went completely different and sideways, but the way they do it with the character progression in just the first 6 chapters with the side quests is insane. And not even to mention the fact that there's a shit ton of side quests that I've already done. I did a 3 or 4 hour stream on the game in Chapter 3, I believe it was. And about 2.5 hours of that was literally just doing side quests in one area to introduce you to side quests. Which, I mean, they were fun. I mean, it was, hey, I'm having this problem, solve it for me and I'll pay you. Or, you know, it was this little girl, you know, help me find my friends. My friends are cats. You know, run around the town looking for cats for this girl. It's fetch quest stuff, but it's interactive fetch quest stuff that builds Cloud's story. It literally, in these side quests, it built Cloud's story even more than it was already built. The main thing that can be said about the story is, as anime-ish as it is, I mean, you got Cloud, whose hair is unnaturally spiky without using any type of product, and I'm extremely jealous of that, but you have this overarching story of trying to save the planet with extreme and amazing character progression in that, and that's really all you can ask for when it comes to a story. So as far as the story is concerned, like, I'm there, I'm with it, I'm in it. I barely have time to play the game where I stream Mortal Kombat 11, but I constantly throughout the day I'll be sitting there thinking, I wonder if I can fit Final Fantasy VII into my stream because I love playing it so much. But now let's move into the gameplay, the combat, the movement, the camera. The only real bad thing I can say about, well, let's start with the amazing things. The combat is fucking sick. Like, even they managed to integrate the combat with how they kind of did it in the old days with Final Fantasy originally coming out, with the, you know, the abilities, pressing X, having commands for different characters and everything else, and they've integrated it with, you know, the new day of, you know, action games and shit, where it's hack and slash, you're jumping around, you're doing all this unga bunga crazy ass bullshit, and it's really fun and really intuitive the way that it works. It doesn't feel clunky, it doesn't feel sluggish, it feels very, very nice and neat and cooperative with what you're wanting to do. If I'm wanting to do a move with Cloud, I'll press X, I'll queue it up. If I'm wanting to do 3 moves with Barret, Cloud, and Tifa, all I gotta do is queue it up for Cloud, immediately get out of that, press R2, do it with Tifa, press R2 again, go to Barret, and then you can queue all the moves up at the same time. And not to even mention about how fucking cool and crisp the actual combat is aside from that. You know, it never feels clunky or like it was dialed in whatsoever. Like, it is 100% truly, like, it flows. You know, you're never sitting there like, oh my god, this isn't working, why isn't this move coming out, why isn't my button working, why did it not hit him? No, there is a lock on, it feels smooth, and it flows. It is extremely nice and neat and well put together combat. The only bad thing I can say about the combat is when it does get to aerial combat. The aerial combat is a little bit wonky in the fact that none of your special moves connect in the air. There are no special moves you can do in the air. And the way that you do air combat is literally getting right under whatever you're fighting and pressing square, and you jump up into the air and attack them. Now, while it doesn't feel the best or anything like that, it looks great still. It looks sick when you're jumping into the air, doing your basic attack in the air against a flying dragon creature like fucking worm or some shit. It looks really cool. And the only other bad thing that can be said about anything to do with the gameplay is the camera. The camera's a little wonky. The camera starts out, you actually have camera controls, like an FOV control thing. You can go in and you can zoom it out or zoom it in. It starts all the way zoomed in. I'm going to tell you right now, you need to go in and you need to change that and zoom it all the way out, or you're not going to be able to see shit in combat or in, you know, just normally walking around. The camera is a little wonky, and even with that, the camera feels really wonky, as in it doesn't stay with Cloud. It kind of moves wherever it wants to move. It doesn't follow one thing. It's just a little wonky when it comes to that. But even then, it's still not that hard to control. You can still control the camera pretty well. You can zoom it out so you can see a lot more. It's really nitpicking. Any bad thing that I can really say about this game is just nitpicking. That's it. There is no major blight on this game that is keeping me from, you know, wanting to say anything good about it. Literally every bad thing I'm going to say is just a nitpick. So, I mean, the gameplay is extremely solid. The camera is a little wonky. The air combat is a little wonky, but that's less than, like, fucking 5% of the game. Everything else to do with the gameplay, the combat, how smooth the combat is when it comes to on the ground, switching characters, using the character's abilities, summoning, everything that goes into the combat when it comes to using your, upgrading your characters. You actually can upgrade your characters, upgrade their weapons and everything else, getting different weapons for the characters, buy add-ons like bulletproof vests and shit to equip, like, to up their stacks and everything else. There is a lot of stuff that goes into this game, a lot of stuff that even I'm forgetting to actually talk about, because there is so much there. The main things that I can talk about when it comes to like the add-ons and stuff are the little orbs. I can't remember the name of them right now, but the little orbs that go inside your weapon that gives you bonuses. Like you can put them in there and you can have like an auto cure to where automatically during the combat you're regaining health, or you can just do a normal cure which becomes a spell and you can heal yourself or a teammate, or you can have fire, lightning, wind, ice, different spells that do damage to the enemies that they could have a weakness to, so you could get the upper hand in combat. And of course you have your classic items, which consist of like high potions, grenades, cures, revives, stuff like that. Really cool things that just add to the gameplay, add to the combat, add to every system in the game. I really enjoy going in and upgrading my character and upgrading their cores and upgrading their weapon cores and everything else. That's one of the funnest parts to any RPG game to me, and Final Fantasy VII Remake does it extremely well. So there's really not many, or really hardly any at all, bad things to say about this game when it comes to gameplay or story. But now we're going to move into the online. There is none. I mean, that's kind of expected out of a Final Fantasy game. The only online that's been on Final Fantasy games is really the Final Fantasy Online stuff. And the only reason I know that is because I've seen the Final Fantasy games, I've watched some reviews for them, and never been able to get into them before this game. But there is no online here. I don't know if there's plans for online or anything like that. But so far, it's just story. So now I want to move to graphics. The graphics in this game are insane. I'm pretty sure this game started development in somewhere, it got announced somewhere around 2012, 13, 14, somewhere around in there. It was supposed to come out in 2015 or 16. It got delayed. It was supposed to come out every year since 2016, I believe, and it just didn't. So everybody was expecting, where the game was already in development and everything else, and it seemed like it was in development hell, that the graphics weren't going to be up to par. But holy shit, these are some of the best graphics I've ever seen in a video game. The combat animations are amazing. The actual combat, how smooth it looks, and the effects and the flares and everything else that come off the weapons and come off the characters, the auras around them, everything looks great when it comes to combat. Even the characters, the way they're designed, the way they look, the way Cloud looks, the way Barrett looks, the way Tifa and Aerith look, they all look amazing. It looks like this game literally went into development in 2019 and was just released. Like, every single aspect of this game when it comes to the environment, the characters, the combat, the cutscenes, everything looks amazing. The only nitpick I have here, the only two nitpicks, is you can tell it's a Japanese game. You can tell it was made in Japan and kind of mainly released there, because it seems like the actual American voice actors are dubbed over for the American version, because the voices will come out and the lips don't exactly move in the right way, so you can kind of tell there. And the only other thing is when you're actually in Sector 7, I believe it is. Sector 7's your home floor. You got the saloon that you go to, the little bar that Tifa runs. During the daytime, like the backdrop of it, the big core looking up into like the pizza plate and everything else. During the daytime, you can really tell that that's drawn on and that's not actual, you know, geometric items back there. It's like not 3D or anything, and that's understandable. I mean, if you had a structure that big that was completely 3D and every little item had you know, everything to it when it comes to a 3D model, if it was a 3D model, I mean, that would take a lot of power to push, especially with how big it is. So it is painted on. And the only time you can really tell it's painted on is during the day in certain areas. But I could tell it was painted on. It kind of fucked with me a little bit, because like I was looking and I'm like, okay, well, I'm moving, but the background ain't really moving the right way. It's not really in sync or in flow or anything. I can tell that that's paint. I can tell it's painted and drawn on. But at night, you can't tell. At night, there is no difference. You cannot tell whatsoever. It looks like a 3D model. It looks like it's all moving parts, even though it's not. At night, the game is at its most beautiful stage. So those are really the only bad things I can say about the graphics. The graphics in this game are absolutely insane. They look great. The characters look great. The way they move looks great. The way they talk, I mean, the voice acting is amazing. It's just the lips are a little bit out of sync and the background looks strong on during the day. That's it. And that is nitpicking. And nobody is going to notice that unless they're looking for it. And I was looking for it. I was looking for things to nitpick because I was like, yo, this game is way too good to be true. But now let's move on to replayability. So I can't talk too much about replayability because I haven't beaten the game yet. I won't know if I'm going to want to replay this game until after I beat it. But from what I've been told by people who have beat the game, our there are choices that make a difference in the game. There are love interests and choices that make a difference with the end. So I could definitely see myself, because of how fun this game is, beating it and replaying it. I replayed Resident Evil 2 Remake like 4 times. Actually, like 6 times. I played Leon's 1, Leon's 2, Claire's 1, Claire's 2, and now I started the hardcore for both of them. And I can see myself doing the same thing with Final Fantasy VII. Unfortunately for my fiance, who had to suffer through Resident Evil 2 Remake 6 times. I could definitely see myself putting her through the hell of making her watch me play this game 5 times over again. It just seems like that type of game. The story is great. It seems like you're going to notice something new every time you go through it. So me personally, knowing the video games that I like and knowing how video games are made and how I can kind of tell if I'm going to want to keep playing a game after I beat it or restart the game after I beat it, I can really tell with Final Fantasy VII that I'm definitely going to want to play it again. So let's move on to developer support. So I don't know if this game is going to get DLC or anything else. It seems like they kind of just made this game as the game. This is what you get, no DLC or anything else, because it is just a part of it's a 5-hour section of a 20-year-old game that was turned into a full game, and people are talking like they're going to be making a part 2 to Final Fantasy VII Remake, which I'm really interested in. That's developer support in the right way of not DLC, but here's a whole nother game from another section that you're going to love just as much as you love the first one. So the thing about it is, the developer support that we can talk about is the developer support leading up to the game. Now, I will say, as far as I could tell, there wasn't a whole lot of communication. Like, people were kind of like, okay, is this game still coming? Is this game not coming? But these guys were hard at work for like 8 years working on this game, and that's not developer support as in, okay, well, here, we're going to let you guys know every single thing that we're doing and when the game's coming out and if it's being delayed and why it's being delayed and giving you all the technical reasons. But that is developer support in delaying a game that they don't think is ready yet and making the game what it should be for the people who are going to be paying $60, for the people who are not like me and have been waiting on this game for 20 years, who are 25, 26, 27 or older, and this game was their childhood or their teenage years. This is developer support for those people who have been waiting on this remake for years, who have been waiting on this remake since it was first announced in the 2010s. That's the kind of developer support this is. The developer support where they delayed it so many times just to make sure that they were releasing a good enough product for the people that were expecting and deserved it because of how much support they'd given this team in the past, they'd given this game in the past, they'd given this series in the past. That is developer support that I respect, because they wanted to make sure that their product, that their holy grail, was up to par before they released it. So with all that being said, there is no way in hell that I can't recommend this game for $60. There is no way in hell that I can't recommend this game for $60 for the next 3 years, even though it won't stay like that. This is, honest to God, truly one of the best story games I've played in a long time. It's up there for Red Dead 1, 2, and Metal Gear Solid 5 for me, and those are some of my favorite games when it comes to story. This game is absolutely worth $60. This game is I will go as far as to say this game is absolutely worth saving up for a PS4. This game is 100% worth that. It's a great game, it's well put together, it's got a great story, great character progression, great graphics, good replayability, everything that you want in a story-based game, it has. Side quests, everything. So I can definitely say this game goes bang for your buck. 100% goes bang for your buck. You should either be saving up for a PS4 just to buy this game, or if you have a PS4 and you're on the fence, buy this game. It is an amazing game. I'm still going to be playing the hell out of it. I'm really excited to play more of it. And yeah, that's my review for Final Fantasy VII. Hopefully I helped someone who's hard up for money, has the money, is considering on buying this or buying another game. You know, maybe you're in between Final Fantasy VII and Predator Hunting Grounds. If you're an online guy but you want to try a story game, definitely give Final Fantasy VII a go. Final Fantasy VII is a great game, and like I said, I can't wait to jump in and play more of it. But yeah, let me know what you guys think of Final Fantasy VII Remake in the comments below. Let me know if I missed anything when it came to my review. I wanted to go ahead and get this out because of how much I like the game. There's no way my opinion is going to change drastically in the next 8 chapters. So, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Again, let me know what you think of the game in the comments below, and I will see you guys on the next Worth Buying. Peace out.